The NAACP Image Awards were like super amazing this weekend. Some of the most fun I've ever had. This was honestly maybe one of my favorite moments in life that I will cherish until I die. So at the end of the awards, so Jay-Z was the recipient of the President's Award for all the work that he's done with criminal justice reform, right? He's done an amazing job fighting to reform, mass incarceration in America. And Beyonce is up for the final award of the night, which is Entertainer of the Year. So she might go up and then receive her award. And so like there's gonna be a whole thing like when she goes, is she gonna leave? Is Jay-Z gonna stay? So she wins, right? She's Beyonce, she wins. So she goes up and she receives her award and then she leaves backstage. But Jay-Z's sitting in the front row. And his security, I guess, didn't realize that the show was gonna end as abruptly as it did, right? And so his bodyguards are like standing at the edge of the theater where we're at, and we're in the middle of the theater. And then Anthony Anderson comes out and he's like, all right, good night everybody, that's your show, goodbye. And that was it. So everyone just stands up and everyone's like, they just bum rush the stage and then everyone just rushes to Jay-Z because they're like, it's Jay-Z! Everyone rushes towards him. Now, I'm trying to get out because if you've ever left any, you know when you leave an event, there's gonna be chaos, doesn't matter, celebrity or not, traffic is traffic, all right? So I'm like, I wanna leave. So I see Jay-Z and now Jay-Z's getting mobbed. And so like he wants to push his way out and the bodyguards want to push their way, but like you're jammed because everyone's leaving that way. And Jay-Z can't push the people because he's Jay-Z, right? You can't push people when you have $1 billion. Everything is a lawsuit waiting to happen. You can't. So he just has to keep his arms by his side. So I run up to him and then I'm like, Jay! And he turns and his eyes light up. He's like, oh, Trevor, what's up? And I was like, oh, he remembers me, thank God. And so, because it's not like we're friends, I just know him. So I'm like, oh, yes, it's me. And I was like, are you okay? He's like, my bodyguards. And then I was like, all right, just walk. And he's like, what? I'm like, just walk. And I don't even know why. I grabbed the back of his jacket and I push him through the crowd and I put my head down behind him. And people are trying to come, and I just started going. I was like, we gotta move, people, we gotta move, people. We gotta move, people. Hey, yo, Jay, we gotta keep moving. We gotta keep moving. Sorry, everybody, no selfies. We gotta keep moving, y'all. We gotta keep moving, y'all. And people are like, Jay-Z, can I get a selfie, yo? Jay, can I get it? I'm like, no selfies, people. Everybody, we gotta keep moving. Sorry, Jay, we gotta keep moving, Jay, we gotta keep. And I literally push him through the crowd, and we like barrel through, and then we get to the other side, and the bodyguards are there, and then they start like clearing the sides, and then I'm like clearing the back. People are trying to come from the back, and I'm like, no, we gotta keep moving, no selfies. And no one sees it's me, because why would you think that I'm pushing Jay-Z? So no one is like, is that Trevor Noah behind Jay? No. So I'm just like there behind him. We gotta move, Jay-Z. We gotta move, Jay. Sorry, ma'am. No selfies. We gotta move. We gotta get him out of here. Because the guy's gonna get mobbed, so he's pushing. And then the security guys, the most amazing thing, they're walking together. And I guess there were two. One was supposed to be ahead of him, one was supposed to be behind him. But there's a moment where they look at each other like, wait, if you're here, and so then, there's a panic and the one turns and then he sees that I'm like pushing Jay-Z and this guy he came up, he was going to break me. It was like slow motion. He like turned and he comes and I'm like, I'm sorry. And he comes and then as he grabs Jay-Z's like, no man, he's doing a great job, man. Let's go. And the bodyguard goes, and then like I just carried on rolling with Jay-Z, just like pushing him, walking ahead of him. It's like, no pictures, no. And I was like Jay-Z security the whole way through. And then we went into like a secret exit where they leave out of like Beyonce. There's like, I feel like they built a basement for them. Because that's not how I came in. We came in on the street. And then I was like, where are we? And we just keep moving. And then he jumped in the car and then he turned. He's like, that was amazing, baby. We got to do it again sometime, baby. That was amazing. And I was like, yes. I'm Jay-Z security. I made it. Oprah has to leave. Yeah, so she was going anyway. Don't be greedy. But, I mean, this is like just a moment where we get to hang out. I know you're dying. So we'll do this. 2 questions. I'll take one from this side of the audience and one from that side. Something you've always wanted to ask. Oh, don't ask her what her favorite color is. Think for a moment. I'll ask her one question first, just to like get us on the, so you can think for a little bit. Just one from this side, one from that side.
This is
your
the
best
behind-the-scenes thing you do, right?
Oh, this is between the scenes.
Between
yeah,
the scenes.
We just hang out and do it. This is like it's funny. I didn't know you talk to your audience.
Yes.
Yes, this is me. I just hang out with the real people.
Isn't that cool?
I love it. So are you kidding me?
I love it.
I wanted to know one thing. You are Oprah Winfrey. You have been very wealthy for a long time. You've worked hard to get there. I often wonder how much normalcy there still is in your life. Like how many normal random things happen to you? Like when was the last time your phone ran out of battery while you were speaking? Does that ever happen to you?
No.
Okay. Like never, so for instance, has there ever been a moment where you're in the bathroom and then the toilet roll is done? No.
Oh, no.
What is the most,
No, you know why? Because at my house, I don't know if this happens at your house, but at my house, when the toilet roll is checked regularly, and when it's been checked, like after you go into the bathroom,
Yes.
somebody will come in and it's folded
They fold
into
it in a
little
little
triangle.
Like
Yes.
you live in a hotel?
Yeah, it's like folded in a triangle every time.
Okay, we'll take one from each side.
Now, I will tell you though, something's very normal that
Yes.
you wouldn't think.
Okay, let's go.
I travel with my own bread, and I bring my own avocados.
Are you serious?
Yes, I do. So I have an avocado orchard. So I think it's
the story got not normal, Oprah.
No.
You just said I'm going to tell you something normal. Then you should have my own avocado orchard.
Okay. But so I think it's ridiculous to pay for avocados.
Which is why you bought your own orchard? Are you kidding me? That is not a normal story.
Okay, all right.
I made my own avocados because they're too expensive.
Okay.
This Mueller Report thing is one of the most entertaining scandals that's happening right now. And I'll tell you why, for me personally, because I can understand where Trump and his supporters are coming from. Trump and his people are saying, if there was no collusion, how can there be obstruction of justice, right? But what they don't seem to understand is America does make provisions for that in the law. You can obstruct justice for a crime that was never committed, which is a very weird thing in my opinion. I won't lie. I do think it's weird, because Trump is like, I never did the thing. Then it's like, yes, but you still might have obstructed justice. He's like, but how can I obstruct justice for a thing that never happened? They're like, you still obstructed justice. That's how it works. And he's like, but that's like, basically it's like you lied about eating the cookies. Wait, let me think. I'm trying to think of, it's such a weird thing. You know what it's like? It's like your mother accuses you of eating the cookies, right? But then you block her from going to the kitchen to prove that the cookies have been eaten. And then even if there were no cookies eaten, she's gonna beat your ass for blocking her. That's essentially what it is. Your mother's like, I don't care. You're like, but there were no cookies. She's like, I don't care. Why were you blocking me? Then you're like, because I didn't eat the cookies. She's like, I don't care. You blocked me. You stood in my way, young man. And that's what's happening to Trump. And the reason I'm so entertained by it is because I feel like 2019 is the year when powerful white people are learning about the justice system in a way that black people in America have known about for a very long time. No, because like you look at the parents involved in like the college admissions scandal and they're like, 40 years in jail, this is ridiculous, and black people are like, uh-huh. Tell us how excessive your criminal justice system is, mm-hmm. And then Trump is like, how can I go to jail for blocking an investigation into something that never happened? And black people are like, oh yeah, you mean like getting arrested for resisting arrest? Which, by the way, is another thing that can happen to you in America. You can literally get arrested for resisting arrest. That happened. There was a young black man in Florida it went viral a while ago. He was arrested, and they were like, why did you arrest him? And they're like, he's arrested for resisting arrest. And I said, okay, but what was the underlying crime? And they're like, no, there is no charge other than that. So I was like, wait, so you arrested him for resisting arrest, but what was he being arrested for? They're like, for resisting arrest. It's like, yes, but what was he the first arrest for? Like, that doesn't matter. We said you're under arrest, and he said, for what? And then we're like, stop resisting, and then we arrested him. And that's like literally, black people in America are like, oh, we've been saying this justice system is crazy as shit. And now Trump is like, so crazy, so wild, who would have thought? See, if he had black friends, they would have told him. How do I do it with the accents? I'll be honest with you, I never thought I was good at it or anything, but I think it's because I grew up like that. I have a mixed family. Like everyone in my family has a different accent. You know, so my dad's family, my mom's family, everyone has like a hybrid because everyone moved around a lot. So whenever you go to a different house, it's just easier to speak to them in their accent than to try. No, because it was weird as well. Like, because I went to a private school, like myself and my cousins, we were all lucky to go to, like at the time they called them Model C schools in South Africa. So it was like the first generation of black and white kids at the same schools. So we had different accents to our parents. And then, like, your parents were happy to send you there. That was the funny thing. It's like your parents would be like, you must go to that school and you must learn to speak good English. And then you'd go to the school and you'd learn the English, and then you'd come home, and then like your parents, you'd be sitting with them watching TV or something, and then like your dad would be like, put volume. And then you'd be like, do you mean increase the volume? Be like, hey, I'll increase or decrease your life. Don't act smart here. Put volume. What is my favorite accent to do? It depends on the day, I'm not gonna lie. It depends on the day. Sometimes I'll choose an accent for the day if I'm on vacation. Genuinely, I'll just walk around and I'll like just be on vacation. So some days like I'll just be like, oh, I'm Australian for the day, and I'll just walk around and I'll just be Australian. You know the great thing about an Australian accent is that you always sound happy, because always like it doesn't matter what it is, but it always goes up and it's like really exciting, you know? It's just got that thing. Like even if an Australian gave you bad news, it always sounds good. It's like, hey mate, your mum's dead. So for those who don't know, there's a story of an American woman who was on a safari in Uganda, and she was kidnapped, right? Her and her guide were kidnapped. And then there was a ransom for $500,000, I believe. And if I understand your question, what you're saying is, why does it seem like the news here is only talking about the American woman who was kidnapped and not so much about the guide? And I'll be honest with you, that's just storytelling. You tell a story from the point that people will most connect with the story. So if you say to an American audience, a Ugandan man was kidnapped in Uganda and is still in Uganda, you're like, and the story is? No, I can see how people just, it's hard to get people to care about, but when you go, an American woman was kidnapped, people are like, oh, I'm American. That could be me. Because that's, I don't know if you've noticed, that's something that people love doing. Whenever there's a tragedy, people always like to make it seem like that could have been, oh. People were like literally there was like when there was a plane, one of the planes that crashed, and then someone was like, oh, I was thinking of flying to Ethiopia. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean you were any closer to... Remember we were planning that trip to Ethiopia? That could have been me. I tried to start learning German, because my dad is Swiss German, right? And so I was like, I want to learn his language, because I never learned it growing up. And then they were like, why don't you learn Swiss? And then I heard Swiss, and I was like, no. I'll rather learn German. And so I learned German, because I thought it would bring us closer together, right? Because I lost contact with my dad for like 10 years. And so then when I met him again, I was like, I want to learn German and impress him or whatever. Then I met him, and then like I started speaking to him in German, and he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm speaking German. He's like, no, it's better if you speak English. This is, he's like, it's better if you don't speak German at all. It's fine. But then now I could speak a bit of German, so I was excited to go to Germany and stuff and practice it. And you know, I had a lot of fun until I found out that the way I spoke German sounded a little bit like Hitler. Yeah, which no one told me on this side of the world, because we don't know how he really spoke or anything, but I would be in Germany, and apparently the way I would hit certain inflections would freak people out. And it's like, think of it like Barack Obama's voice. Like if someone learned English in America and they got here and they were like, I just want to have a... You'd be like, hey, you're doing the Barack Obama thing. And they'd be like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? So I would do that. Like I'd go in places and then I'd like order food. And like someone would be there and they'd be like, Guten Tag, was will Sie haben? And then I'd be like, ich will ein klein Brötchen haben. Bitte schön. With the Schinken. And the people, like, everyone would look at me. And then when we left, my friend was like, I was like, why would they look? Did I say it weird, like wrong words? She's like, no, you sound a little bit like Hitler, yeah? And she was like, and the people are really frightened about that, and you know? And I was like, so I spoiled their day? And she was like, yeah, you did, you know? And I was like, well, that brings me a lot of Schadenfreude. You guys have any questions before we move on? Anything you want to chat about? No, we good? Yes, sir? That's an interesting question. What do you mean by that?
Well, like, there are like white people that have like been disenfranchised like recently, like
recently is the key. Recently is the key.
Well, the country like deindustrialized, right? So like a lot of people in like manufacturing jobs and stuff, like
right.
barriers were affected.
But so to your question, I think you have to understand what the word reparations means first. So reparations, you are repairing something that you have broken. You are paying for something that you were supposed to pay for. I'm not saying that there aren't people living in America today who are suffering and are going through pain and strife because of what's happening when it comes to the machines taking jobs, factories becoming industrialized, etc. But reparations is a specific conversation about a specific time in America, and that is black people were slaves. You know what I mean? I've even heard people say like, oh, but there were some of the Irish who were indentured. Like, yeah, slavery. Look at the numbers, look at the time, look at the level of work. You could not work toward your freedom. For most black people in America, this was a time when you lived and died as a slave. And so that's what reparations is about. And so I hear what you're saying, but I think that's a completely separate conversation that needs to be had about the now. because if you are not careful, what you then do is you combine everybody's suffering into the same ball, and you make it seem like all injustices have the same weighting, and they don't. It's just like crimes. You know, theft isn't the same as murder. We don't try them the same way. And as much as there is a white person who's suffering today, I feel for anybody who's suffering, because I know what it's like to be poor. I know what it's like to suffer. I didn't come from a wealthy family. We struggled when I was growing up. But I also understand that there are levels of that suffering, you know? And so sometimes white people, it does block a white person, because you go, white privilege, and a person goes, I'm poor and I'm white. Where's the privilege? You know, white people are like, I wish I could activate my white privilege. I wish I could do it right now. White privilege, give me something. I get that. I get that. Trust me, I get it. It is hard to accept that you have benefits because of the color of your skin if you cannot see the benefits that you have. But the thing I try to explain to a person is, think of it more like golf. Don't think of it as privilege, then think of it like a handicap, right? In golf, they acknowledge that you are in a position where you need so many advantages to be competitive in the game, right? So what they say is you have a handicap of 15, so that means like you're going to be hitting from this tee and you get more chances to get the ball in, because we understand the position you're in. And if you're a black person in America, from slavery, from day one, the number of injustices that have held black people back in America amount to an insurmountable, like you look at black people's freedom, you look at black people's land, just land alone. The amount of wealth you can acquire over time if you own land is exponential, because you have the land, you have the fact that you can borrow based on the land, you have the fact that you can use the money that you have borrowed to grow more wealth, you can use it to grow your family's wealth. Just taking that away from black people alone is crippling them. And so you combine that with slavery, and then you look at Jim Crow laws. You didn't let black people in America live in the areas that they wanted to live in. They couldn't get loans from the banks that they wanted to get loans from. And then on top of that, when they started getting the loans from American banks were found to be giving them higher interest rates, when in fact they were the same risk as many of the other races that they were giving loans to. So when you combine all of those things, I think it's safe to say that black Americans have a conversation that they need to be having with the United States. Doesn't involve me, doesn't involve white people, it's like, yo, American government, meet the black people. That's it. Have that conversation.